Boom! That's right. Jackie Jones live here at In Your Head Wrestling Radio. It's Jackie Jones Show here live. And I'm going to be talking about AEW Dynamite because it's Wednesday night. If you're looking for the normal show, we're live Tuesday nights. Me and the 1-inch biceps with the wrestling legends, and sometimes just us talking to you, the fine fellows of the Headyverse. But Wednesday night here, so it's going to be me riding solo and talking about AEW Dynamite while it's fresh in my mind. It's a show I look forward to. By the way, though, an update. If you listen to In Your Head or watch In Your Head this week, I put it out there that I will review Raw for $10 a week donation from the Headyverse. $20 will include SmackDown. $30 we'll even throw in NXT. If we get up to $50, you also get a review of TNA. The update, Impact. The update is we're up to $25 already since yesterday. So that means a Raw and a SmackDown review. And if we get some more, it looks like possibly NXT will be coming up. I don't know, folks. Thank you, guys. I don't know if should I thank you or should I be pissed? It's like, thanks for the donations, but also now I got to watch Raw. And I'm a man of my word. I'm the most honest man in all of podcasting. I will watch all of SmackDown. I'll take notes, and you will get a live review on Tuesday night on In Your Head. I'm going to do it. All right. So tonight, AEW Dynamite. It's September 23rd, 2020. Hello, Stephen Butler here in the chat room. You're a good man. I love Stephen Butler. I love all the Headyverse, but especially right now, Stephen Butler, because he's here. There's other people here watching, but speak up so I know who you are. By the way, we have super chats now on the Without Your Head YouTube page, which is live Thursday nights and throughout the week. Sometimes Tristan and I will do some extra shows. I'm not even sure what that entails because I don't watch anyone else, but I don't even watch myself, but I don't watch anybody else on YouTube. So what the hell do I know? But we have super chat, so I'm going to try to implement that over here on In Your Head as well. So hopefully in the coming weeks we'll have super chats. What do you do with a super chat? I really have no idea, but it's super apparently. All right, so the show opened with Kip Sabee and Penelope Ford, who are getting married soon, and let's see. So it's Kip Sabee and the best man Miro, formerly Rusev. And people had to go with Rusev about his attire, rightfully so. I mean, it wasn't he didn't look very menacing out there in like pajama pants and a t-shirt and stuff. But I assume this wasn't going to be like his wrestling gear. And right away he looked in amazing shape, thick muscles, looking amazing. And he was very serious throughout this match, which was much different than he's been. Interesting. I was to say different than he's being portraying himself lately in the show. But I think the first week he was very, silly and comedic. But then last week, it really was, you could see the other side to him, which I thought was, was kind of foreshadowing of what he's going to be like once he gets into the ring. And so this is where it's going. I think he's kind of the silly, loving guy, fun-loving guy outside the ring, and then when he's in the ring, he's all business. So we're going to see where this goes. Um, I'm still not sold on the pairing with him and Kip Sabian. I'm a big Miro fan, Rusev fan. I don't see a lot in Kip Sabian, though I do think he has improved since coming to AEW. When he was first there, I really thought he just had nothing going. I still not like, I still don't think he's like a main guy or nothing, but he definitely has built up the confidence being on air, and it just comes off. He comes off more natural. Comes off better. Still not sold with it. Penelope Ford's pretty hot though. So they wrestled Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, which is all in the news. They're all in the news right now because so they're, Cornette's very hateful to them and saying all this stuff about them. Which, you're right to do whatever you want to do. So they fired back a little bit. I actually thought it was pretty funny. They're like, we just got the permission. I'll say Joey Janela said this, Sonny Kingston. We got the permission. We're going to be the new Midnight Express. So it was pretty funny. And then Cornette apparently sent him a cease and desist order, but I think he's saying they didn't, or he didn't. Maybe it was I don't know. I'm not following all these guys on the YouTubes and Twitter, these Twitter battles. I'm a grown man, and Cornette's older than I am, and he's like battling people on the internet. But I don't know. To me, it was just it's just silliness. They were having fun with something that really shouldn't be taken, life or death, and just seems like there's this bitter personal hatred of AEW on it. To me, it goes beyond like what he thinks of the actual wrestling. It's just like he hates these people on like a personal level. It's very strange to me. And some of it I don't get, but again, what I was just saying, whatever makes you happy, but I don't think it makes you happy. It seems whatever makes you miserable, I guess. Urias Tasher says the Pope would be a good manager for AEW. Oh, the Pope I was thinking the actual Pope from the Vatican, but I see what you're saying. Possibly. I was gonna say he might be a better fit with Private Party, and people are gonna think automatically I'm putting all the black guys together. But I'll get to it later. But I don't think Matt Hardy fits in with Private Party. I don't really see. It's almost like Matt Hardy is now the Michael Hayes. When they put Michael Hayes with the Hardy Boys years ago, it didn't fit because it was like the cool guy of another era with the cool people of today. And what's really the connection? It didn't connect. And it's kind of like this. It's like Matt Hardy's cool on his own doing his I'm not a big fan of that stuff, but it's got its fan base when he's doing the broken stuff, but he's just himself now, and like he's just trying to talk like he's Matt Hardy, and then he's paired with like these two new young up and coming high flying guys, and I don't think it works. Like it works for like I think Tully with FTR works, where you could maybe say it's the same kind of idea. It's like the modern day straight wrestling guys with like a wrestler that inspired them. But I think that's the different dynamic where their connection is wrestling, and if your connection is like you were the young cool guys at one point, that doesn't really work when one guy's in his mid-40s now. It doesn't work for me anyway. We'll see where it goes. But anyway, so this is the match. I'm a fan of Sonny Kiss. I don't mind Janela. I actually I think I like him too. I'm not like a huge Janela fan, but I like Joey Janela too. But I really like Sonny Kiss. I think he's a star. He's got a ton of charisma, very athletic. I disagree with a lot of the naysayers. Honestly, I was gonna say it. I think a lot of people who hate him are just homophobic. I mean, a lot of it, like I'll hear, and they're like, "How can he be a baby face? Because he's effeminate, and like you're just supposed to." Basically, saying you should hate the guy because he's gay, and it's just like, this isn't the 1950s anymore. There's another thing I hear. Cornette says, and I hear some other people, Disco, who I like Disco. I mean, I don't dislike Jim Cornette either, but they'll talk about like non-wrestling fans see these people and like they won't want to watch wrestling if they see Sunny Kiss, if they see Orange Cassidy, which that one's really mind-boggling me. But for a couple things here, I'm going to say one, Orange Cassidy, I think, is actually the opposite of that statement. I think he actually appeals to non-hardcore wrestling fans. I know I've seen with my own eyes when I was in Chicago with my friend Matt. His friends are old WWE fans and didn't watch AEW, but came along, because it's live wrestling, and they knew Jericho and John Moxley, these kind of guys, and they weren't really into any of the AEW homegrown guys, but universally they loved Orange Cassidy. My brother at work, they're not even wrestling fans as coworkers, but they know of Orange Cassidy. They've seen the clips on YouTube, and that's the guy they ask him about. I've done on Without Your Head. I've had lapsed wrestling fans who stopped watching in the '90s. They're filmmakers, and he talked about he got back into wrestling because AEW, and his wife, who was never actually a wrestling fan at all, but she started watching because he's watching it. Her favorite guy was Orange Cassidy. I think he's actually a guy that does appeal to people outside the hardcore wrestling fandom because he's fun and you just have to face facts. There's a different audience today. Back in the day, people did watch wrestling, maybe not because they thought it was real, but they wanted to see simulated, realistic fights, I guess. But we've seen MMA and stuff, so we know that's not really what they look like. And I think the majority of the fan base today watch it to be entertained, not necessarily to think this is an actual real fight. And so it's people watch for a different reason. And that's not right or wrong, that's just what they do. And it's not right or wrong if someone else from another era wants to longs for their old wrestling, but you have to just come to the fact that things change. So like I'm sure I've heard stories in the 80s, like Ole Anderson was originally against the Rock and Roll Express because they're too small and stuff. And so it's just what wrestling changes. He was from another era and he wasn't used to what was going on. And the same thing as today, people from another era. And me personally, I do prefer the style of the 80s. I love the NWA Crockett style. And I love like ECW in the 90s. But I had to accept that this is different, modern wrestling, and either accept that and watch it and try to enjoy it, or just don't watch it. I think when it comes down to. So I actually really enjoy AEW. I don't enjoy WWE. I'm forced to watch it now because I've been paid. But another thing I wanted to go before I went too much on a tangent there was that about about Orange Cassidy and Sunny Kiss not appealing to an audience outside of hardcore wrestling. Another thing about that is like how would these guys know whose lives are wrestling? Like Jim Cornette, since he was like a teenager, his life was professional wrestling. Even before he's in the business, he was doing newsletters, he was taking pictures, a photographer, and then from was he 18 or something when he gets in, or maybe even younger when he gets into actually being a manager. And from there on, his career, his life is professional wrestling. So how would he know what what a normal person sitting at home would think of that anyway? He's like what a 50 something year old guy getting close to 60. What does he know? What like a 30-year-old person in New York or Florida or wherever thinks so. I mean, why would he know? Why would he know what they would think? It doesn't make sense. So I'm just saying, if you're in the wrestling bubble, how do you really know? They're just going by what the wrestling norm was, in the 70s or the 80s or even into the 90s. But things have changed. And I mentioned this before, but Sunny Kiss like shows like drag race is a mainstream show now. Drag queens themselves, I've actually interviewed some drag queens on Without Your Head, and they said there is part of that community who doesn't like that it's become mainstream because this was their thing. It's kind of like that happens a lot of things. If you're into Metallica, once it became mainstream, then they didn't like the mainstream audience who likes it. And anyway, there's a mainstream audience today for drag queens and that community, And so I think it appeals to a bigger group of people. Not everyone who sees a drag queen today is going to be like, I hate them and they should be beat. And I'm glad. I mean, I don't really want that reaction. This is my opinion. Wait. So we had Miro look very serious. Looks like a powerhouse. He did an amazing Uranagi, I think they call it, but a standing one. Like the rock bottom. Like the one-handed slam on Janela. Just like killed him. Looked pretty sweet. Yeah, it's just good stuff. And I do think they beat the wrong guy again. I think this is 2 weeks in a row when Janela and Sunny Kiss lost, and that they beat Sunny Kiss. I do think Sunny Kiss has more upside than Janela. I actually like both guys. I like the team, but I actually think Sunny is actually a star. A lot of charisma there. Eddie Kingston promo. This was great to me. So earlier in the night, I found out on social media that that Archer was. They said he tested positive on the show. They said that he was around someone who was positive. It could be either one. I'm not sure, but either way, he wasn't on the show tonight because of COVID. And so they said that it was Eddie Kingston was going to have the title match instead of doing the 6-man, which I was excited about because I'm a big Eddie Kingston fan. And so Eddie came out and cut a great promo. I was really into this. He was, talk about him and John Moxley, coming up together. And, like there are two hardcore guys from the Indies. And then John was basically a sellout. He's saying he goes and wrestles for us, the sports entertainment. So he's like, come on out, sports entertainer. This was good to me. This is a good promo. Eddie Kingston, a great promo. A lot of believability, a lot of heart, a lot of emotion. So this made me looking forward to this. Evil Uno versus Hangman Page. When AEW started, Dark Order was one of the things I really didn't like at all. I personally think they've gotten better. I actually thought Evil Uno had gotten a lot better right before they brought in Brodie Lee. And I was actually disappointed that Brodie Lee took the spot there because I thought Evil Uno was doing so well. And when Brodie Lee was really doing the McMahon stuff, I was not into it. And I love Brodie Lee, but I don't think he fit that gimmick at all. And ever since they stopped that and they've been going with a more vicious Brodie Lee, I'm really into it again. So ever since Brodie Lee, killed Cody, I've been really into this. So we had Evil Uno versus Hangman Page. This was a really good match. Hangman Page is a guy, to me, has been really impressive the last couple weeks in the singles. Both this was a really good match. Evil Uno, I think this is the first singles match I've seen him in. He's got this weird charisma to me in the ring, his weird mannerisms that appeal to me. I'm not saying he should be like world champ or anything, but I like him. I know it's a really polarizing thing, the Dark Order. A lot of people hate it. I'm into it. I actually really like Kenny Omega as a heel. I'm not, I've been pretty vocal. I'm not a big fan of his character on the show normally, but ever since he started, he's doing a good job at it too. Because originally it was very subtle with the heel, and now it's more pronounced. And I think it's a progression which I like. And so this is interesting. I think once we get to these matches, are going to be good. Hopefully, we can have crowds at some point because a crowd for Hangman Page and Kenny Omega would really add to the match. So again, they were going with the storyline. There is going to be a tag team. Kenny Omega doesn't want to do many tags anymore, so he took himself out of the match, and it became the singles match. There's a couple matches tonight where they showed that the Dark Order, they're outside really trying to help their people win. Again, progressing the storyline there. Bucks promo, not as memorable as the last couple weeks, probably because they didn't super kick someone's head off. Maybe they could have super kicked somebody. So this was a really interesting match because I wasn't sure what you would do here. It's Brodie Lee versus Orange Cassidy. Because you have Orange Cassidy, who's honestly one of the hottest guys in the company, and he just came off a huge victory over Jericho, who's the most established guy they have, their biggest star. So you have Orange Cassidy coming off that. Brodie Lee, who just won the title and really reignited his stance in AEW. To me, I wouldn't have done this match because you don't want either guy to lose at this point. If it wasn't coming off Orange Cassidy just beating Jericho, I would say this was excellent because the match was great. Orange Cassidy lost, but because of so much interference, he had so much odds he couldn't overcome them. Brody Lee really played the big man, taking down the little guy. As a standalone match, I think it was actually booked excellent. But I think just the idea of doing the match at all right now, I don't think it was the smartest idea. Without him coming off the Jericho win, I wouldn't have had a problem with Orange Cassidy losing here. Honestly, I don't think there was a right guy to win this match. I just wouldn't have done the match. But that said, as a match, it was great. Everyone knows I'm a big Orange Cassidy fan. I'm a Brody Lee fan too, especially like I said, since the newfound vicious side of him. It was a good big man, little man match. Brody Lee's playing the big man. And then I like how they worked in Orange Cassidy's, his gimmick stuff into the match where he's kind of played mind games with Brody Lee, where he just kind of collapses out of the moves and then he rolls him up and stuff. It's, it makes it work in the match as opposed to if when he's just doing the lazy stuff, which can be funny, but when you start to work in more serious matches, it might not work. So they're finding ways to incorporate that, which I like. So lots of interference in this, which I thought worked because again, it was giving Orange Cassidy an out because you don't want this guy just to get squashed because he's, a star for your company. In my opinion, I thought, well, this is going to lead now to a rematch where it's going to be like in a cage or some type of gimmick match where there can't be interference. It would be like, yeah, Cassidy lost, but should he have lost? Now, I mean, you could still do this actually while they're doing the Cody stuff, but maybe he could build himself back up to get another TNT title shot. This time it's in a cage, so the Dark Order can't interfere. That's where I thought it was going, but I was the match. Honestly, I loved. There's a lot of hope spots from Orange Cassidy. It really built well. You really started to get behind Orange Cassidy. Think he was going to win the title. It was a lot of emotion for him. The crowd was good here tonight. With a real crowd, it would have been really good stuff. And so I was even though I love Cody Rhodes and I'm glad he's back, and I thought he looked really cool with the black hair and the black suit, and I'm looking forward to Cody versus Brody. I was a little disappointed that was like the end. So Orange loses, and then he's kind of just out of it. He's kind of, that's it. He's lost. Now Cody's back. I just think it's you do all that to really build Orange Cassidy with all these matches with Jericho and all that TV time, and him beating Jericho at the last pay-per-view, and then you have him lose immediately. I don't think that's great. I don't think that's smart booking, but it's not like awful, but I just think, it's not the time for him to be losing because in AEW wins and losses matter. They should matter. So, if they do the rematch show. So Cody comes back. He's got the new look. I think it really works for him. It's funny because he used to have the black hair. Then I wasn't used to him originally with the blonde hair. Now I'm not used to him with the black hair, but it works, and I like the suit. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Brody versus Cody. This has been built well. Brody promo again, showing a lot of fire. He's pissed. What kind of man are you, Cody? I liked all this, and brings out the dog collar. Assume we're going to lead to a dog collar match. It's interesting because I remember Boom Boom, what's his name there? The comedy guy with the Dark Order. He had a like a fan art, and like they drew him like in a dog collar, like he was like the lap dog for Brody Lee. But anyway, I'm looking forward to this. Even though I'll never be into the tattoo, it did look better in the suit. I think because when you have, I'm not even against the idea of a neck tattoo. Like I would never get one, but if you're going to get one, you have to be covered. It can't be your first. You can't just have a neck tattoo. If you're like the Undertaker and you're all covered in tattoos and it's also on your neck, I think it's, I get it. Just having a neck tattoo doesn't work, but it looked more, it didn't look as bad, I guess. I'll still say it didn't look good, but I think in the whole black suit, probably because rest of the body's covered up. But I did get a kick out of Brody saying that for God forsaken tattoo. Matt Hardy promo comes out, says it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Matt Hardy, former guest here on the show. I just don't think him and Private Party. I don't think the combination works. I don't really know what they'd have in common. The new Matt Hardy direction's not working for me either. He's just like this nice guy. I mean, that's good and all, but I mean, it's not interesting. I don't know what you do with Matt Hardy now. I've always been a fan of Matt Hardy, and I was actually happy he came in there, but I haven't really liked anything he's done so far. Out comes Jericho in the inner circle, and he talks about, oh, it's your birthday, Matt. Who gives a shit? Which I thought was pretty awesome. They get one shit a week, and it's usually Jericho, but Jericho is just the man. If you don't like Jericho, you just don't like wrestling, I think. Private Party did promo. I didn't think it wasn't too hot. I also didn't really get. I mean, I guess it will lead to tag matches, and you want to prolong the feud as instead of just doing the one tag match. But you've established that Jake and Jericho are the tag team, so you would assume it would be Jake and Jericho versus Private Party instead of Jericho versus Isaiah, because instead of establishing Jake and Jericho as a tag team going for the belts, to me this would be more about giving a hint towards Isaiah being a singles wrestler. So I wasn't really sold on this angle. Well, we'll see. I don't think Isaiah really was I don't think he's a bad talker, but he just seemed kind of green. He just he didn't have the confidence. He really wasn't at that level yet. Tully and FTR come out. This is a pairing I do like. Tully Blanchard, FTR. I really like the matching jackets. Tully, sometimes, even though like I just love his voice and his presence, sometimes he doesn't know, he forgets like what they're supposed to be getting over. And I'm sure they're not scripting stuff for him to say, but he seems like he gets lost in what he's trying to get over. Maybe he forgets the bullet points or whatever. But so anyway, he was talking about, it's a little convoluted. They're going to do they're calling it the 20-minute brush with greatness, where it means so FTR will defend the belts versus tag teams, and they have 20 minutes to be. I don't know if it's defending, but they'll have 20 minutes to wrestle them. If they don't win, FTR actually wins. Why FTR and Tully Blanchard just have the why they can just make this rule? I get the 20-minute rule. I'm okay with that, but how can they just make the rule that if you guys don't beat us, we get the win? I'm not really sure, but it's wrestling, so I'm not going to get that involved with it. I get the idea. I just thought it was a little messy how they put it out there. I also think 20 minutes is kind of long, really. Like if you're going to do this idea, I think maybe 10 minutes, really, like the 10-minute brush with greatness, because 20 minutes is a pretty long match. So it's like, you got to beat us in 20 minutes. I mean, not too many matches really go longer than that unless it's pay-per-view. And, but if you did like 10, then it's like, oh, well, we only had 10 minutes. It's hard to beat, these established wrestlers in 10 minutes. So we'll see where it goes. I also thought it was weird that they said, like, and we get to pick the opponent. So in my mind was, okay, they're going to pick some, like the Mulkeys or some, or the equivalent of the Mulkeys, or even the Mulkeys. Why not? We're going to fight the Mulkeys. To me, that would have been funny, and it also would have put them over as heels. Like, we pick who we're facing, so we're gonna face bottom of the barrel people, but we're gonna pretend like we're facing these big time challengers. But they picked SoCal Uncensored, who were the original tag champs of AEW, and all three of them are positioned really well in the company. So Daniels is like a legend in wrestling, especially to this crowd. So I didn't really get it. Like, I think the idea was there, but I don't think it was presented very well. Best Friends come out, who I'm big fans of. And I remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about who fights FTR, and Best Friends had come up. And I think, at the time I thought, well, even though I like Best Friends, I don't really see them, being top top of the card guys going for the belts because I saw them kind of the comedy guys. But last week, which I thought was to me was match of the year so far, the street fight, I changed my mind. So now I totally see it. Which actually, again, that was pretty smart. You put them over strong in that, and now I can buy them as going for the title. So hopefully this isn't just a one-off match. It doesn't go anywhere. And hopefully, well, it's not even a match yet, but hopefully that this builds up and we eventually get best friends versus FTR. I think they could actually do a lot of really good stuff together. With the women's tag match, Diamante and Ivelisse for Thunder Rosa and Shida. Yeah, this was good stuff. I'll be honest, I was making coffee at the time, and not because I'm sexist. I was dying for some coffee, but it was a good match. Dasha backstage with Jericho. Again, Jericho's so good. You could just put the mic on him and he's great. Put the camera on him, he's great. You could tell he's having a lot of fun, which I'm all about. I know some people are really anti-fun in the wrestling world. It's weird that people get mad that I know they say it as a negative thing that these guys are like friends and are having fun. I don't really understand that. But MJF comes out. These two are gold together. Gold together. MJF and Jericho. Two best heels, maybe in all of wrestling. Two best heels in AEW, maybe. And not maybe two best heels in AEW. I think maybe the two best heels in wrestling. Great pairing because you have these the legend established Jericho, MJF, who I think has really won everyone over already, but still, to new audiences, you want to establish this guy more. You pair these two guys together, they play off each other well. I like that they're both heels, and you could tell they still don't like each other, even though they're trying to build this bond together. This works for me, and it's comedy, but not like I even like some silly comedy. That's fine, but this is comedy that doesn't get in the way of in some seriousness. So I like it. In coming weeks, I forget the dates, October something. We're gonna have this 30 years of Jericho, which I'm looking forward to. Those segments are hit and miss. Sometimes they're very funny. I know there's a couple they did I didn't care for, but hopefully it's good stuff. So then we had the main event: John Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. Good physical match. In a way, because they only really had this night to build it up, and they did the best they can. But I know it was under weird circumstances. But I think if you had weeks to build this up, like it would, obviously you can say with anything, if you had weeks to build something up, it would be bigger. But I hope we get to see more of Eddie Kingston in the title picture, honestly, in the future. But really good match. I think the two singles matches with Eddie Kingston have both been title matches that he lost, interestingly enough. But why part of me is like, why does he get a title shot here? He hasn't beat anybody, but we'll look over that. But it does bother me a little bit. But his match, very good. Good physical stuff. This is a guy I think Moxley works well with. Then we had Will Hobbs run in, and he was taken down by the Lucha Bros. And then we had Team Taz come in, so the heels are reigning supreme here at the end of the show. Good stuff. I don't, probably not, this isn't a knock because I actually enjoyed it from beginning to end. There's, I went over it. Some stuff worked better for me than other things, but really solid show. Probably not as good as last week, which I thought was one of the best episodes of Dynamite, but I really enjoyed it nonetheless. Sad news here, which, I'll talk about with Incher too on Tuesday, obviously, but the passing of Road Warrior Animal, 60 years old, died today. One of the absolute legends of wrestling. I mean, arguably the best tag team in wrestling, depending, probably I would think the most over tag team ever in wrestling. I mean, people still, talk about the Road Warrior pop. For members of the Hennyverse over on the Facebook group, you guys will know Road Warrior Animal was an active member of our group, and has been there for years and interacts with people. He wasn't above talking to the fans. He talked to the fans in our group. He would always, reply to threads on there, talk about wrestling with everybody. And he's on the show. I really liked him. It's really unfortunate. So many people from that era didn't live very long, unfortunately. But rest in peace, Road Warrior Animal. We'll talk more about him on the show this week. Definitely a guy we could probably do like a tribute show to. We'll see. All right. So I got some questions here. We're gonna get to them. Like again, these Jackie Jones shows aren't gonna be real long. I'm trying to pull up the page here. I'm not having luck. Let's try this again, folks. By the way, if you are a Facebook guy, or gal, go over to facebook.com/group/IY Wrestling. Subscribe to us here on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening